Hello, and welcome to Shane's Microscope. I'm Shane, and this is my microscope. Let's take a peek. Today's sample comes to us from a neighbor's bird bath. Scooped up some sediment in there and grabbed myself a leaf. A lot of these microorganisms are going to live on or around these substrates, not just free floating in the water, so wanted to make sure I got some good material. I made us a wet slide preparation, making sure, again, to grab a little bit of that sediment on there. And then added some water to the slide. I find that tweezers or forceps are good for that. You want to make sure there's enough so you don't have too much air underneath the cover slip. Spread that water around and then touch a side of the cover slip to the water and let it fall on. Looking through the microscope here, we can see some ciliates already. These guys are named after cilia, the Latin word for eyelash, because they've got little eyelash-looking hairs all around them. They can move those to move themselves and get food and do all the things a little ciliate needs to do. So we can see them just swimming around, looking for things to eat, avoiding things that they think might be frightening, and overall just doing their thing. Here at a higher magnification, we can tell that this is a hypotric. That's hypo, Greek for under, and thrix, Greek for hair, because they've got hair on the ventral side of them, and we can see those cilia even better than we could at the lower magnification, really moving around the particulates in there as it hunts for things to eat. Here I decided to experiment with a little dark field microscopy. I think this looks really cool, almost like it's a star field in space or something. Basically, what I did here was I put an opaque object between the light source and the objective, and so the only light that's illuminating the sample is from the side. This can really help improve contrast now, because instead of looking at a mostly clear thing against a source of light, now we're seeing it against a dark background. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Back to bright field microscopy, looking at the hypotric friend again, we can really see those cilia going to town. This is kind of too high of a magnification for me to really follow him well. He's pretty active. Oh, there he goes. But while we're here, we can see that we've got flagellates swimming around. It's difficult for me to get a good idea on these guys because they're so small and swimming in and out of focus, but from the movement pattern, you can tell that they're flagellates. That's Latin for whip. Basically, they've got a long whip-like tail that they can twirl around, and that corkscrews them through the water. And here, looking at that sediment that we had put onto the slide, we can see that there's something interesting hanging off of the bottom there. Let's have a closer peek at that. So up closer we can see that this is a Paratrix. That's para for around, the same para as in perimeter. And trick again is Greek for hair. So Paratrix have a ring of hair around them that they use to bring in food. And as you just saw there, if they're disturbed, they retract and then return back to their normal operation. There's two of them, sort of one on top of the other here, so it's difficult to get a good look, but it's still interesting. Now here we've got another Paratrix on this piece of sediment, and we can get a real good look at this one, and we can tell it's of the genus Oprahcularia. And as I play around with the condenser setting on here, check that out. Something came over me there. So anyway, Oprahcularium is roughly Latin for covered by a lid, and you can see why it was called that. It's got kind of a little lid at the top, and those cilia are really going to town, just really bringing food in. You can see all the particulate matter that's swirling around. Well, I think we'll leave it there for the day. Thanks for having a look with me. Until next time, keep on peeking.